Welcome back to the Awesome Bar Podcast. My name's Ben. I'm joined by Bren here today. And we're going to be talking about some transfers that have basically crossed the line, some that are potential. So I first want to start off with Nathan Ake. He is reportedly signed to Manchester City for $41 million. What do you make of this deal?
I think it's just interesting to see how he does Manchester City, because I think a lot of teams weren't too keen on signing a relegation player, and I think that maybe this was like the one relegation player that might be the exception, just because of the fact that he's been a quality defender. For $41 million, though, it does seem a lot. I think it's just to outbid Chelsea's buyback clause, which was set at $40 million. So I think for sure that I think that's the reason why. I think the only reason why I'm a little bit skeptical of this move, even though like I could have wanted, as a United fan, I kind of preferred it for United, just because it's been like because I've seen a lot of feedback, and it's like, oh, like, look at this bargain. We spent $40 million, and while Maguire gets $80 million. Like, Maguire didn't lead a relegation side for the past 2 years.
Wait, let me pull up a stat. So apparently, we half the price for Fridge and twice the player. Apparently, Bournemouth conceded 65 goals this season.
Yeah.
Man United 35.
Right.
Or 35 or 37.
Now, I'm assuming this is probably just going to be like a backup backup center back type of role, maybe,
Well,
or maybe.
Is it?
I don't know. I don't know if he's going to play alongside Laporte.
What other defensive player do they have?
Well, I mean, if Eric Garcia doesn't move back to Barcelona, I know Stones and Otamendi didn't look good this season, so I mean, I think that's why. I think if City can somehow reconcile the relationship with Napoli, they might go in for Koulibaly, which I don't know. Like, it depends on how much you want to spend in this market.
Yeah.
I mean, they've already spent close to $70 million. I mean, I know they got like 40 back from Sane, so like net spend is they spent $30 million.
Right, but I mean, look, Nathan Ake is a good defender, and I think, like, he is a good defender. But I think personally, $40 million, where you could spend, their talks of like Pau Torres being for 35. I know he's Premier League proven, but
right. I think that's why that's the price tag right there, and I think it's also because Chelsea could buy him back for 40, and so it's $41 million.
And it's also the fact that he was relegated. Like, I understand the buyback clause and whatever, but he was relegated, and Chelsea do need a defender, but.
Right.
They need a world-class defender. All props to Nathan Ake. He's not a world-class defender.
No, I mean, he's a solid defender. I think he's paired up with a world-class defender in Laporte.
Yeah.
But I think it's just interesting to see that I think City are still, while they do have that oil money, they're still going to spend. They're still going to spend on a lot of players, just not high prices. Right, compared to like a Manchester United, compared to Chelsea, who are going to spend the high prices on a few players, they rather spend. It's basically quality over quantity, right?
Yeah.
For them, and it somewhat to a degree, right? Because it's like, yeah. So that's pretty much how they want to do it, or it's quantity over quality for City. I mean, then again, they do bring in some quality players. I don't know how I'm just trying to say they bring in a lot of quality players for cheaper prices than compared to Chelsea or Man United or Liverpool.
Right, because teams see Man United and add money onto it, which is surprising because they can probably get more from City.
Right. The next piece of business I did want to talk about is Fernand Torres also going to City. Obviously, this is going to be a Leroy Sané replacement. He is an exciting prospect. Not gonna lie, he can play off both wings. He's definitely gonna be a Pep Guardiola type of player, just from the versatility standpoint. Being able to, I think he's a really good passer. He averaged like 3 goals and 6 assists in about 20 something appearances for Valencia. I think obviously, I think a lot of people took notice from him when he was playing in the Champions League I think this has been his first real test in the Champions League. What do you make of the signing, Ben?
It's a good signing, especially, and I have to say they really lucked out here. It was the last year of his contract, especially in the market that they're in. If situations were different, he'd be going for 50, 60 million.
Right, because I think originally before lockdown, I think a lot of sources were quoting him at closer to an $80 to $90 million mark.
Yeah, which, it's a lot for someone who's averaging the same or around the same stats as Dan James.
Right, yeah.
So, which, not to throw Dan James under the bus, but he's not the best right winger in the world.
Right now. It's still developing prospects, right?
Yeah. But what I'm trying to say is basically it's a great deal, especially $27 million. Not bad. It's a good deal. For worth-wise, they're getting a young guy who can definitely turn into a world beater. You look at kind of Riyad Mahrez is kind of, I think he's close to 30. Of course, you have the idea of Aguero, but Aguero doesn't play on the wings. But you have kind of the idea that maybe you want to push for one more person going through.
Right.
And yeah, they do need to sign a replacement. So yeah, I think this is a good signing for them.
It's basically a Leo Sané replacement, and it's going to be just another versatile winger.
Yeah.
For Pep. Now switching over to the red side of Manchester, we're just going to talk about a couple different transfers that could potentially happen for them. Before we get into the big one, let's talk about Raul Jimenez. He's being replaced by Paulinho, it seems like, from Benfica.
Right.
The Benfica striker. But Wolves have quoted Raul Jimenez as 70 to 80 million. If they do get in Paulinho, will this lower the price demand, and how much would you be willing to pay for a 28, 29-year-old striker?
Yeah, look, there were, I talked about it earlier in another podcast how there were reports coming out that Manchester United might sell Anthony Martial for Raul Jimenez to pay $90 million for him, which isn't going to happen. I think, personally, for that reason, they're kind of pricing him out of a move, because who's going to really pay for a £50 million, not £50 million, but a 70, 80 million pound player to sit on the bench.
Right, and I think that's the same thing with Grealish too.
Right.
If it was 40 million, I would understand that, but it's not. It's 70 to 80 to 90 million for two guys that are going to sit on your bench and most likely be rotational players, especially in that striker role where they already have a guy like Greenwood that could step in there and play. Yeah,
I well and truly believe that Greenwood in his later years is going to revert to a striker.
Right.
He's a natural striker.
Or an Odion Igalo who's on loan.
Right. Who I think they extended it only to December just to kind of hope that the market would go down and maybe they would go out and negotiate for him. Because I don't think Odion Igalo, I don't think just extending him to January was kind of it was just kind of a kind of, we just need to do it by this far. But I think...
Well, no, it was kind of because they wanted to have that backup striker.
Yeah.
And his loan was... and the only way Shanghai were willing to extend his loan was if it was till January and not towards the end of the season.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
So, the other one... I think we're going to get into is Grealish, because we did talk about that for a second. Grealish, and then we're going to go into Gabriel from Lille. Grealish, how do you see that transfer going through? Is he going to stay at Aston Villa? Could he potentially force a move? How do you see that happening?
He's in a very sticky situation, because I think a lot of people, especially now, said that this is going to be Grealish's last year. Even Grealish came out and said, I don't know what my future's going to be, but I want to help this club stay up. He did, in very dramatic fashion. He has to now go to the board and not force a move, throw his toys out the pram, and not, not force a move like that, but he's going to say, look, I will not play. I will be very upset, because there's no reason to have an upset player that wants to leave on your team. And I think if Aston Villa are going to price Jack Grealish out of a move, he will probably turn around and say, I don't want to play. because it's going to be something. And look, I don't think he's gonna go complete fit, kind of like
right.
Yeah, but I think like kind of like what Bale like is like. I don't think he's gonna go complete like I'm not playing, I'm not doing this. But I think he's gonna turn around and say, I don't want to be at this club. I love it. It's my boyhood club. I'm always gonna support it. But I don't want to be at this club. I want to go and make my mark somewhere else. You know, Manchester City has been linked with him. Manchester United has been what seems to be front runners for him. So I think personally, like, unless they can drop it to 50, 40 million, because I think it was like 80 million just to get to the negotiating table.
Right.
So I think if they drop it down to, okay, we'll sell for 45, 50 million, United will come in, because it's known that Solskjaer wants him. So I think if United can come in and say, okay, we'll pay 45 million for him, boom, deal's done. And I think that's the only way to see it. If Aston Villa either drop their negotiation or
right, if they drop their price,
yeah, or if Grealish comes around and says, I want to leave, I want to make it on my own in some other team.
Right. All right. So next we're going to talk about Manchester United's center back situation. Obviously, they're being linked to a whole bunch of different players. Obviously there's bigger transfer names like a Koulibaly. I saw even a Vertonghen, even though I honestly think just throw that out the window, because from the transfers that we've been seeing from Manchester United,
that doesn't fit the MO.
Yeah, it doesn't. There's going to be a sense of youth and sense of getting people, if they're going to be over the age of 21. I think it's going to be like closer towards 25, 26, if anything. I
don't even think they're going to go in for Koulibaly. I think Koulibaly is a Mourinho signing.
Yeah.
Same thing with Vertonghen. I think both of them are Mourinho signings, because I don't see. Because Koulibaly's okay. I know the kind of idea is thrown out with not Premier League proven, even though the dude's killing it like everywhere else. Koulibaly,
right?
But I think he's 28, 29. Why take a 100 million shot on someone where you can say, okay, invest 35 million on one player, 20 million on another, and if it doesn't pan out, then you didn't spend 100 million.
Right. So there's also talks with Milan Skriniar as well. But that's always been a link for the past couple years as well.
Right.
There's two players in mind that I think are very interesting and do fit Ollie's MO. Is Pau Torres of Villarreal. I think they're being quoted at around 30, 40 million for him.
Right.
Could potentially be higher just because of his release clause. And the other one, which I'm a little bit more excited for, is Gabriel out of Lille for only 20 million. Obviously, both have played well, and obviously both have great, fantastic defensive stats. Both left-sided center back and ball-playing center backs. I think they both could complement Maguire well. I think Pau Torres isn't going to be as good in the air as Maguire or Lindelof. So, but again, that's always for development and whatnot. What do you make of those two in particular?
I think they're very young. I think they're really, Gabriel's a very good prospect. Gabriel's 20 million, and he's been looked at almost every big club. I think
right.
He played a really good. He played very well.
Right. This is like kind of his breakout year for Lille. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's not a risk if you spend 20 million on a player. And
right.
That's why we're talking about Dan James, and we're like, okay, yeah, he's great for a 20 million player.
Yeah, from Swansea. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think he's great. Pau Torres. I think he's pretty good. There's, of course, Villarreal's not come out, but they're planning an offensive for him, which means that they're going to demand 65 million for him.
Right.
Now, of course, that's going to be a negotiation tactic the same way. We're not spending same way like...
Would you give them Eric Bailly back? Would you try to swap Eric Bailly just to lower the price if you're Manchester United?
The problem is wages. We pay way too high for wages. Villarreal probably can't afford...
Eric Bailly's new wages, yeah.
Yeah. So, look, I love Eric Bailly. I think there's no Manchester United fan that doesn't like Eric Bailly.
Right, but the thing is, though, he's a good center back in my opinion. Eric Bailly.
He's just always hurt.
He takes so many risks on the ball that it's causing him to get hurt.
Okay, yeah, but wouldn't you want a ball playing center back that does spins on the inside of the box? It's the best.
Trust me. If he wasn't always getting injured, we wouldn't have this discussion about.
Yeah, no, definitely.
If he was, because honestly, he looked really good under Mourinho. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Especially when he was playing with Lindelof, but he was getting injured a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that was the issue because he's taking so many risks. He's trying to be more than a ball-playing center back. He's trying to just do the extra stuff. He's trying to be more aggressive, and that's causing him to get a little bit more issues defensively, obviously, and then obviously getting injured. Honestly, I think it could be one of those two that Manchester United look at. And then
even the two, if you're going to go out and sell Phil Jones and Marcus Rojo, you're going to need, and even... I was gonna say Mike Smalling, Chris Smalling, who there were reports coming out that if Manchester United don't get any of their centre back targets, then they're just gonna keep Smalling.
Right, and I think that's probably a good idea to do, just because he has been doing really well for Roma. They even nicknamed him Smaldini, so that's just kind of funny.
They nicknamed him? No, we nicknamed him. Except no one took us seriously when we did it, and now people are taking him seriously.
Right. All right. So now, obviously, the big boy news: Jadon Sancho.
Big boy news.
I don't know. It's like top story. Like it's going to be it's going to be the signing of the summer.
Yeah.
Right. I think
and Havertz. Yeah.
Right. Right now, there was a report by the Independent saying that the fee is set at a base fee of $60 million, and then.
It could rise to over $100 million, right?
Right, to like with add-ons and other kinds of stuff.
That's a Man United deal right there.
Right, but I think Dortmund want to get this move over with, right? So I think they're willing to take that $60 million and have those add-ons or have those incentives or future payments to get it up to $100 million.
I think, for... that's why they set a limit, Dortmund. That's why they said after August 10th, we're not...
Right, because that's when they go back to training.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I think Dortmund want him gone as much as Jadon Sancho also wants to leave.
Well, okay, let's not say he wants him gone. I think they probably want to... They don't want him gone. I think they'd keep him.
Right, obviously they'll keep him, but I think Sancho... I think they got to the point where Sancho knows that he wants that move. I think they know Sancho wants that move, and it could get ugly, so they rather nip it in the bud.
Yeah, they don't want to pull Ousmane Dembele with this.
Right, and then and not go through like a public turmoil where he forces a move, and now Manchester United can get it for the cheap. They're going to try to do it as quickly as possible. I think Dortmund... probably want to get this deal over the line. I think Manchester United also want to get this deal over the line.
Yeah. Manchester United fans want to get this deal over the line. Woodward's going to put all right, we're going to put the base fee at $20 million with $80 million incentives. The dude wins 5 Ballon d'Ors, you get $10 million. I remember there was a clause in Wan-Bissaka's contract that if he wins a Ballon d'Or, he gets if he wins a Ballon d'Or that they get an extra $10 million.
Really?
Yeah. Which it's something that he...
No, there's always those funny clauses.
Does,
yeah, no, there's always those funny clauses or something like that. Now let's look at one of Manchester United's loanees. We talked about Chris Smalling. Alexis Sanchez doesn't want to buy Football 365. He doesn't want to go back to Manchester United. I think he's very content on staying at Inter. There was a report coming out, I can't remember from who, saying that Inter want to... extend his loan to next season with an obligation to buy for $15 million. However, Manchester United would have to pay. It would be a profit of only $7 million just because his wages would add to $8 million. If you're at Manchester United, I honestly would say, all right, you don't have to pay us $15 million. Don't extend his loan. Just give us $12 million, right? Yeah. And you can have him. I know Manchester United are probably holding out for $20 million, but I would take $12 million and say, all right, here. Bye. The
thing is, you're not getting $20 million when they turned around and spent 40-something million on Achraf Hakimi.
Right. No. So, I honestly, I'll turn it into 10, 12 million. I would honestly say lowest you would go was 12 million.
Give me a crisp high five and a bag of Cheetos, and you can have them. Genuinely, because you know how much his wages cost us?
Yeah, no, it's on he's almost at $500K a week, I believe.
It's terrible. It generally is really bad.
So, and there were also talks about the Ivan Perisic swap. I don't know about that. I would probably want to take I would rather take Perisic over nothing.
Right.
If it was nothing, then if you're Manchester United, I'd rather take Perisic over nothing.
Yeah, 100%.
But if Manchester United can get cash for him, obviously take it because that's going to fund more transfers.
Yeah, I mean, look, Ivan Perisic is someone that's going to come off the bench and going to do incredibly well. We saw it with Bayern, we saw it with all of his time in Inter. So I think personally, yeah,
I mean, he's 2-footed. He can also play cam. He can play off the left. I think he can also play off the right. It's just going to give Manchester United more depth. Obviously, it has given Inter the ability to play him wherever and a lot of creative things. Obviously, this was a Jose signing from a couple years ago that he wanted to get over the line when he was around 28, 29. But obviously, didn't really work out. Yeah. Next, let's go ahead and talk about Arsenal's center mid situation because they've been trying to deal with a lot of different, try to go after a lot of different ones. The Mirror reporting that they're in talks with Porto's Danilo.
That's a signing from like 3 years ago.
Right. Obviously, they're very much interested in Thomas Partey, but the only way they're going to get through to... The only way Atletico are going to accept anything if they pay the release clause. They're not interested in any cash plus. I think the report was Guendouzi.
Yeah. And look, I'm not even going on a limb. Arsenal don't have 40 million to spend. I genuinely don't believe they don't have 40, 50 million to spend.
I don't think so either. The other person I wanted to bring up for Arsenal that could be for cheap, and it could also be for Manchester United if they're looking for a center midfielder, for a defensive center midfielder is Ibrahim Sana. I can't pronounce the last name.
Sangare.
Ibrahim Sangare from Toulouse, who just got relegated, so you could possibly pick him up for the cheap. The other one is obviously, I'm blanking. I'm trying to think of his name. He plays for Lille as well. Babakura Soumare, if you want to go after him. Obviously, if another Lille center is Renato Sanchez, if they would, I mean...
I don't know if he'll fit, but yeah, I understand.
But it's a breakout. But, like, he's more box-to-box, if anything, Renato Sanchez.
Yeah.
So, if you are Arsenal... given your current situation, that you want to get rid of Ozil because of his wages and the fact that he hasn't fit in Arteta's system. He's not going to fit in Arteta's system. You're trying to extend Ceballos. You're trying to either extend Ceballos' loan or pay permanently. Torreira wants out. Guendouzi wants out.
You need to re-sign Aubameyang.
Right. You still need to re-sign Aubameyang. If you're Arsenal, how are you going about this? And who are you looking for? Are you really genuinely willing to spend either all your majority of transfer budget on on a guy like Partey?
Right. First of all, Partey is pretty good. I like Partey. Right. I always thought that the partnership with him and Saul was really good. But yeah, I don't know. Right now, I'm going to tell them, like, they don't have 50 million to spend, especially with having to extend these guys' loans. I'm sure Ceballos, I'm pretty sure that I'm looking at kind of, like, if you look at Zizou's squad, he'll probably be in the plans, Ceballos, but right. I don't think right now.
No, I mean, I don't even know if right now, if you're even talking about right now, just because you look at, Odegaard they have on loan.
Right.
Yeah, they could get rid of James Rodriguez and they could get rid of Isco. And they do need to replace Modric and Cruz. But they have Valverde, they have Casemiro, they have other loanees that they could bring out. I mean, there are options for them coming off the bench and players they've already loaned out. So, yeah, Ceballos could be in his plans. I just don't know about right now just because what's worked has been playing the old card, right? Playing what he's been comfortable with when he won 3 La Ligas in a row.
Yeah. I think, like I said, I don't think Ceballos is in his plans right now.
Right.
Could he be in his plans later? Maybe. I'm not going to go ahead and say no, but maybe.
If I was Arsenal, I would honestly look at Doucouré. I would honestly, because you could probably pick him up for cheap.
Yeah.
You could, and he's honestly, I know Watford got relegated, but for a while, he's honestly, besides Deulofeu, he could be picked up for the cheap.
Yeah.
And he besides Deulofeu, he's been seemed like a pretty decent player, one of Watford's better players. The next thing, sticking with Arsenal because I was gonna jump, but sticking with Arsenal, would you, given the fact that your budget might be constrained, and given the fact that you do have several holes in different areas, would you rather spend the 40 million in defense or in your midfield? Given the fact that you're still bringing in Saliba, who still needs to be adjusted to the Premier League. Given the fact that David Luiz will have 2 good games, and then that last game he'll get a red card. Given the fact that Mustafi still needs to be sold on. Rob Holding looks like a decent defender.
He's not a starting defender.
Yeah. How are you going about that? How would you break up their transfer budget if they have, let's say, just $50 million to spend?
So, I don't think midfield is as bad as a problem as the defense is.
Okay.
Personally, especially if they can extend the loan to Ceballos. If they can work Torreira into the squad, I know he wants to leave, but if they can work him into the squad, I think he's been a really good player. He was a really good player last year for him. Yeah, I have to say go defense. I know they're looking at Gabriel from Lille.
Right, there's a lot of clubs looking at him.
Yeah. Saliba, if he can carry the form that he had, would be pretty good for them. But I think personally they probably need defending, even though they're fullbacks. I mean, Tierney and Bellerin have played really well this year.
Right.
I think.
Yeah, also Saka playing some of that left back role as well.
Yeah, he's kind of pushed forward into the midfield, but into the attack. But I think definitely. I think for Arsenal, I think if they're going to pinpoint one area of weakness, it has to be their defense.
Right. So let's now go into some other. Let's go to the other London club. If Chelsea, their goalkeeper situation, Kepa believes he's pretty much done at Chelsea. That he's played his last game. I think they're going to be priced out of remove for Oblak, but they have been making inquiries for a Ter Stegen. They have been making inquiries for Dean Henderson. In my opinion, I think the best option if you're going to spend $80 million on Havertz is to probably go $30-40 million for Onana. That's my opinion. I mean, he's killing it for Ajax and he's killed in the Champions League as well. Like, he's proved that he's a quality goalkeeper. How who do you think could be a good signing for them at that goalkeeper spot?
Onana, because I don't see them even coming close to what United probably want for Dean Henderson.
Right.
What Barcelona wants for Ter Stegen.
Well, Ter Stegen has 1 year left on his deal.
Well, Ter Stegen probably could re-up. That's the difference.
Yeah, no, I think Ter Stegen wants to re-up. I think he's just trying to say, hey, like, look, Chelsea are interested.
Yeah.
Sign me to a contract now.
And, we've seen, and I said this before, or I said this in our Barcelona podcast, he's been one of their best signings for the past couple years.
Right, yeah.
And then Oblak, who personally I think is the best goalkeeper in the world, they're not even going to be in the same stratosphere.
Right, because they're being quoted at $120 million, and that's a lot.
Wait, $120 million with Kepa or
no, just straight. That it's a lot.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to even come close.
You would have to have a big fire sale.
Yeah, I mean, look, you could probably sell Kepa for like $30 million.
Right.
I don't know
cut your losses, but the fact that it's a big contract because it was a 7-year contract.
Yeah.
It's also big in terms of media-wise, the backlash they can get because he was the world's most expensive goalkeeper.
But okay, let's be real. Roman Abramovich is not going to give a shit.
No, and that's fine. It's money that he's done that he's got from not legal things.
Hey, I don't want to be killed. Legal things.
I said not illegal.
Oh, you said not illegal? Okay, cool.
Yeah. Like, don't worry. I'm not trying to get, like, killed.
I want to go to college, man. I want to be sent to the gulag.
So, yeah, that's just another... I think Onana's probably their best option. I haven't really seen reports for Onana.
No. I mean, look, Ajax has done incredibly well with promoting. I don't see Onana leaving anytime soon. I mean, look, would I love to see him playing in the Premier League? Yeah. Or I'd love to see him playing in a league other than one of the top 5 leagues, yeah. But, I don't know, I don't see him leaving anytime soon.
Right, but I think if this is a time for him to make that next step, I think Onana could be that perfect signing to replace Kepa. The other side of London now, let's move over to...
How many sides of London are there?
There's a lot. Tottenham.
Crystal Palacio. Tottenham.
Tottenham, God, Tottenham. You know what, Ben? Shut up. Tottenham are obviously looking to offload Ndombele, one of their premier signings from last season. But obviously didn't work out.
Right. I thought he had a pretty good season on the Poch.
Yeah, he had some good games under Mourinho too, but then Mourinho just
yeah.
So there have been talks, I think, to either sell him or loan him to Inter. And there could be some swap deal. So now we might see an Ndombele for Perisic, and Perisic could be Perisic could be finally not reunited, but
United with Mourinho.
United with Mourinho after he's been linked to Mourinho for so long. What is Tottenham doing the right thing here, or should Daniel Levy kind of put a step in and say, hey, listen, this is a quality player. I'm not sure why you're not using him.
And they also spent a lot of money getting him.
Right, no, it was like 50, 60 million.
Yeah.
Sessegnon's another player that I'm a little bit concerned with under Jose. I know they were in talks for Højbjerg from Southampton for around 30 million. Yeah, I don't see a future for Ndombele, and he's been honestly a great player for Lyon, and also when he has played, he showed promise for Tottenham. I think Inter could get a deal from him, a really good deal, and he'll still improve, and he'll still prove why he's been a quality center mid.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think cash wise, I think you're looking around 40 million maybe.
Yeah, and look, we don't know how much, and I said this, but I know I'm gonna go back and kind of what I said with Sanchez, but we don't know how much Inter does have. Of course, you'd like to hope that they have enough for Sanchez, but yeah, I think for Ndombele, it's going to be. I don't know if they're gonna generate 40 million, but I think they're gonna turn around and say, okay, we have 28 or we have 32 million and X player,
right, right, and especially since they just spent on Hakimi, they're also looking at a couple other players to strengthen their squad. They might try to re-sign Victor Moses after his loan deal. They might try to sign. I'm trying to think who's this Tonali from Brescia.
Right.
So yeah, there's been talks, and obviously they could start selling a couple other players. They have Nainggolan on loan. They have they could if they sell Lautaro for 110 million or something to that degree.
Not in this market.
Right.
It'd be a great return, but not in this market.
Yeah. I think it's interesting to see how Tottenham are going to play this, because they do have good relationship with the Inter over the Eriksen move. So yeah, that's just that's yeah. The other player I did want to talk about was David Alaba. He does have 1 year left on his contract. He's been teams have been inquiring over him. I think Barca, City, obviously. Where do you see him ending up? Do you see him re-upping with Bayern, or do you see him ultimately leaving?
With Bayern, I think it's there's always the saying that with Bayern players, if they're willing to sell, don't sell them or don't buy them.
Right.
David Alaba, he's a Swiss Army knife as a defender. He can play. He can even play in the midfield. He can play a defensive midfielder, center back, left back. He hasn't seen his best days in this year, last year, but I think he might re-up. It seems like a Pep signing,
right?
I think he might re-up with Bayern.
Yeah.
Especially with look, his place in the team isn't being really challenged by anyone.
Yeah.
He's still getting minutes. He's still playing.
At left back, it is being challenged by Davies.
Yeah, no. Yeah, but you have to look at he can play anywhere.
Right. He can play center defensive midfielder. He can play center back. I get that. Especially with Boateng getting up in age. Pavard and Hernandez also having a bit of an injury issue this season.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely he could play center back. So I probably see him also re-upping with Bayern. But If he were to go, where would you think he would go to?
Man City. I think it's a Pep signing.
Yeah.
Personally, for me, because he already has a connection with Pep, but I think the type of player he is, he's a ball playing kind of guy. He can play multiple positions, and they do need a left back. So even if he doesn't work at center back, you can move him out to left back. But yeah, I think it seems like a Pep signing. I wouldn't go out as far as to say other teams wouldn't be interested in him, but I think if he becomes available, if like Bayern go out and say, okay, we can't re-sign him, whoever wants him.
Right.
If he does become available, I think it looks like a Pep signing to me.
All right, now the two last players I am going to bring up is another Bayern player. The first one is another Bayern player, is Thiago. Obviously, he's been rumored to move to Liverpool. A lot of reports are saying that it could cost him only $30 million, especially since he has 1 year 1 year left on his deal. Is that if you're Liverpool, would you make that signing, or if you're Thiago, do you want that signing to happen, or you maybe want to maybe go back to Barcelona or maybe stay at Bayern?
I think Barcelona's out of the question. We've
Okay.
seen kind of with signings that they've made, and they haven't made good signings.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, I think Barca need to sell first before they sign anyone. They need to sell at least 6 or 7 players.
Yeah, and also they need a self-evaluation and kind of to know where they're going with this.
Right.
With what their plan is. I think it's a great signing for Liverpool if they make it. You know, there
Yeah.
isn't a lot of creativity in the midfield of Wijnaldum, Henderson, who is not the player of the year, and Fabinho. There isn't really that much creativity. I think they kind of not rely, but they do kind of use Bobby Firmino a lot more as
a drop. He plays more as a center forward.
Yeah.
Than a striker.
Yeah.
Than an out-and-out striker. No, I definitely believe that and try to be that creative midfielder almost while trying to push forward with the ball. So yeah, no, I think it makes sense. Thiago's around 27, 28 years old. Definitely has won a lot with Bayern. Has also been successful at Barcelona. So I definitely think it'll be a good signing for Liverpool. The last player I do want to bring up is the free agent Edinson Cavani. There's been talks of, I think the most talks have been with Benfica.
Right.
To get for him to sign with Benfica. Leeds are now interested. Where do you see him ending up?
I think it was for this pandemic. I'd say Inter Miami, but I think probably Benfica.
Right. I think just because of the Champions League sake.
Yeah, I think Leeds probably will push hard for him because they're a new squad. They would need a proven goal scorer, and Edinson Cavani is a proven goal scorer. But yeah, I think probably Benfica.
I think Benfica. I think maybe Atletico Madrid might look at him as a signing. I wouldn't rule out any of the Italian squads like a Fiorentina. But I think it does matter about Champions League placing. So I wouldn't rule out maybe an Inter as well to go in for him just to be a backup striker to Lautaro and Lukaku. So yeah, but I could see Benfica. I think that's been a move that both sides have been really trying to push hard to finalize and to get done, which I think will be a great signing for Benfica just because they are getting a proven goal scorer and they're getting a guy, and it's good for Cavani because he still wants to play at a top level. He still wants to play in the Champions League. With that being said, is there anyone else you want to bring up, Ben?
No.
Okay.
So, I don't know what else. I don't think there's anything really that big.
Right. No. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys do enjoy. If you like this video, let us know in the comment section down below, or let us know by liking and subscribing. Let us know what your guys' thoughts on some of these rumors, some of these transfers that have happened, some of these any rumors that we missed out, any transfers that we missed out. Let us know in the comment section down below. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe. And yeah, hope you guys stay safe.